Put your hands together for Heather Irvine.
Whew. In 2016, I completed my 6th marathon. It was a beautiful spring day in Boston. And for those of you who don't already know, a marathon is 26.2 miles. But in Boston, after the marathon, they have a party that they call the Boston Marathon Mile 27. And they have it at Fenway Park. And it's for the participants, the runners, and their families. And my youngest daughter was 21 at the time, and she was with me, and she saw me cross the finish line, and we were both really excited to go to Fenway for this party. So I clean myself up and hobble on to Fenway. And we pick seats that are in the 3rd row from the foul line along first base in right field at Fenway. And on the field, they're having a presentation telling us who won the Boston Marathon. And that's cool, but we aren't paying any attention because Justine is elbowing me, ribbing me, saying, "Mom," and she's pointing at this big yellow structure coming up from the stands in front of us, or the seats. And she says, "Mom, it's Pesky's Pole." And Pesky's Pole is an infamous piece of baseball history, and I don't have time to explain it to you right now. Google it. But she's looking at Pesky's Pole. She says, "Mom, we're close enough." She says, "People have signed it." And I look up, and Pesky's Pole is signed with hundreds, if not thousands, of black signatures. She says, "Mom, I want to sign the pole, but I don't have a pen." Well, I'm a mom with a purse. I always carry a Sharpie with me because you never know when you might need it. And mine's bright red. And I said, well, okay, we're going to sign the pole. So we're waiting for the festivities to end on the field. And congratulations to won the Boston Marathon. See you. Bye. We vault over the seats and go to the pole. And we take the red pen out and we sign it. We get pictures. We're all excited. Piece of history. And we start to go when a man that had been behind us a few rows saw what we were doing and just vaulted over these seats to come at me and says, "Hey, oh my gosh, you signed the pole. I want to sign it too. That's so cool. Can I please borrow your pen?" I said, "Sure." And I handed it to him. And I said, "You know what? Tell you what, when you're done, hand it to the person behind you or leave it at the base of the pole so somebody else can do the same." And we left because then we could go onto the field at Fenway Park. Okay, we get to walk the perimeter on the field at Fenway. I mean, this is blowing my mind. We're walking along the green monster in left field in Fenway. And by the way, don't touch the green monster. We tested that theory. Don't just look at it. And so we looked at the green monster and went past and went towards the dugouts and sat in the dugouts at Fenway. And sitting on the visitor side, I was just marveling and talking about the butts that have sat on those wooden planks. I mean, Babe Ruth and Gary and DiMaggio, Cabrera. This is awesome. And we took our pictures and we had a great time and we had to go. And we went along the right field line to go. But a crowd had started to form in right field. And we didn't know what was going on, but we didn't want to miss out on anything. So we, just like a Midwesterner, we went and joined them. And I just as we got to the perimeter of this crowd, I saw the very center of the crowd, there was a little girl on her father's shoulders. And just as I caught her, looked at her, she handed something down to her father, who then handed it to the person behind him. And I saw what it was. It was my red pen, and it had my flag on it. And I look up at Pesky Pole, and what had once been covered in black signatures was blanketed in red. And I went home. I couldn't quite figure out why this was, I don't know, my feelings were all stuck out about it, and I couldn't understand why until I was talking to my father on the phone. And I was telling him this story, and I could hear the tears in his voice. And, he was proud of me for I completed the Boston Marathon. That was really cool. But he loved the story of the pole and the pen and the share, and that my daughter had been there to witness it. And that's when it hit me. That's what this was about. This was my life, what I had hoped to embody. And in some small way, I had embodied what I admire so much about certain people, one of which is in the audience tonight. That when you really push yourself, when you go beyond where you've ever been before, beyond your limits, you put yourself in excellent territory for indelible moments. We do what we can to make our mark, but we must give of ourselves so that others can do the same. Make your mark and pass it on, because that's where the extra is. Thank you.